But when I came to cybersecurity, I understood that in order to know cybersecurity or in order to master cybersecurity, you need to know a lot of basic. You pay this many $1 million and then I just give you the key for decrypting. If a student has completed his BTech or BE or any domain, what they can do is like they can go for. So when people try to get an internship, definitely tell that you just have to mention.
Dr. Sree Vivek, welcome. So, Doctor, when I reached out to you telling you about what Stucret does and the fact that, we work with students and we have been working with students for the past 6 years, and we wanted to create a repository of information that can be useful for students and parents alike. And it was so nice of you to be so accommodative of this idea, and the fact that you also wanted to be a part of this. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Rashmi.
Dr. Vivek, you are a cybersecurity specialist. What led you to this career path?
So basically, I did my computer science and engineering course when after my 12th standard, and then I did my MTech, and then I did my PhD in cryptography. Right, this is my background, the educational background. So when I was doing my after my BTech, what I did was like I was trying to find some job, and then I ended up in lecturing. So that is where I got connected towards a lot of students. So I just wanted to talk to students. I want to interact with students, and I felt that I want to teach in a college. So I joined a college, and then I was working for 4 years after my BE, Computer Science and Engineering. And then I joined my MTech. And after that, I just went to Ethiopia to teach there for 2 years in Jimma University. And post which I came back to India and then joined IIT Madras to do my full-time PhD in cryptography. So cryptography is a field which talks about encryption, digital signatures, and all the basics for security, right? So what happened next was like I ended up in a lab which is called as the Theoretical Computer Science Lab in IIT Madras, which was headed by Professor Pandurangan. He's a great teacher, right? So he teaches algorithms, he teaches cryptography, he teaches game theory, graph theory, whatever is in theoretical computer science. He is the dada of that. So I happened to be his student, and then he taught me cryptography, and I started learning cryptography, the art of encryption, art of hiding information, the science of hiding information, and all those things. And then when I finished my PhD, I had like 30 to 40 research publications, which were all like theoretical crypto systems. And then now I wanted to see something which is like practical, right? So everything was in theory, and then I know what is encryption. I know how to tweak an encryption system and then build a new system, how to tweak a digital signature system, how to use hash functions or build a new hash function. All these things were like very familiar to me. But I wanted to come up with a practical use case for all these scenarios, like whatever I have built. That is where when I started looking for a job which actually uses the practical aspect of cryptography, which was directly the cybersecurity or security is the field which is like directly linked to whatever I learned in theory. So what I did is like I joined Samsung Research and Development in Bangalore after my PhD, where I was working in the mobile security team. I was part of inventing new systems for securing the mobile applications and the data which is being stored inside the mobile systems and so on, right? So it's all the technical part of it, and then where I can apply all my theoretical knowledge. So post which I had to do a job change. In 2016, I just joined the current company where I'm working in, which is ICU Medical, where I actually head the cybersecurity team. And it is totally towards cybersecurity. So I started my learning as a cryptographer and then went into mobile security and then came into cybersecurity.
This whole thing you said is so interesting. Like nowadays there are so many movies which talk about hacking and everything, and students it's so exciting for students, it's like the Tom Cruise kind of thing, like everybody wants to know about this. But today's schooling system and educational system, I don't think it's equipped to still catch up with the changing trends in the market today. What should a student do? What all choices should a student make to reach where you are? Because I know I meet so many kids who think this is so awesome. It's a cool thing to do, right? So what can they do? Like, how do they? You went into this. It took you so many years, but are there easier ways to get into this? Just knowledge is wealth. If you can just shed some light on that.
That's true. So when I moved into cybersecurity, what I understood, I was also new to the field. I know cryptography. I have done a lot of research in cryptography, and mobile security was the one which I started with. But when I came to cybersecurity, I understood that in order to know cybersecurity or in order to master cybersecurity, you need to know a lot of basic computer science and engineering, right? So it touches all part of computer science and engineering. So if you talk about network security, then you should know about basics of networks, computer networks. When you say about system security, you should know about operating systems, right? You should know the in and outs of operating system. Only then you will be able to identify what security flaws could happen, or like what vulnerabilities could creep in into the system, and so on. So when you talk about web application security, you should know how web applications are developed, right? When you talk about mobile application security, you should know about mobile applications. You should know how to develop an APK, or like how an APK looks like, and how to find out a vulnerability in an APK or iOS application or whatever, right? So basically, it is like cutting all aspects of computer science and engineering. That's what I understood as and when I joined the cybersecurity domain. So. The main thing to understand here is, like, if you want to master in cybersecurity, you should have a very deep understanding of all these technologies, the underlying technologies where the security is going to be applied, right?
So, what can they do to supplement and increase their depth of knowledge in these subjects before they come into an internship? Like, if somebody has to come into an internship into your ecosystem, what are the common drawbacks or flaws that you observe in students who are coming in new? And how can they complement this? What can the parents do to help their kids?
Correct. So there are different levels in which a person can actually approach the cybersecurity domain. So the first or the foremost thing is to be a penetration tester, right? The first thing which one can do is like do penetration testing on a system. So penetration testing is like to identify a vulnerability in the system, and then see how to exploit it, and then how to get access to the system. That is the first thing any cybersecurity personnel will try to do. Right. So as a student, or like as a budding cybersecurity enthusiast, what they have to do is like first understand how to find out a vulnerability in the system. Right. So identifying a vulnerability does not start with like equipping everything up, and then the basic thing which you can do is like you take a mobile application and see what type of changes you can do superficially, right? And then how the changes affect the system. Or if you take a web application, for example, any web application you load in the in a web browser, right? And then you can actually inspect each and every element, try to change, modify the elements, and then check what changes are happening in the website, whether you are able to tweak the let us say you are entering a e-commerce website and trying to tweak the rate of an object. Let us say it's 1,000 rupees, and then you try to make it 100, and then see what happens, right? That is how people start curiously looking into the vulnerabilities in the system. So that is how people start. So if you have this curious mentality, then I think you are eligible for becoming a cybersecurity person.
So, this is today the number of hackers and people who are like, even the government is so trying to do so much of educational initiatives on, trying to make people aware on how to protect themselves. Is there a huge trend that is going to be this industry is really big? What are the opportunities for students? What is out there for the student who's aspiring to come into this industry?
Yeah. So there are so many aspects of this, right? So the only thing which we see around is like some phishing attacks, right? We would have heard about phishing attacks where someone makes a lookalike website and then tries to make you pay for something in that website.
Recently, somebody came on a video call and they asked, did some huge fund transfer. It was not even that person, and the employee thought it was their boss.
Yes. So all these things, right? These are the spoofing items and all these things. These are like directly relevant to the customers, like whoever is end user, right? So someone using a mobile phone might be thinking that, okay, this is the right web page, or like someone is using a web browser, he would be thinking that this is the right web page, and then start paying the amount, and then they lose a lot of amount. So these type of attacks, like, and you are also aware of the recent frauds which were happening on this customs. They say that I'm calling from the customs and all these things, right? So this is like social engineering type of attacks. So these type of attacks are very familiar. There are very sophisticated attacks which we call as ransomware attacks. So ransomware is like very sophisticated, and then it is not like directly going to attack any, the attacker is not trying to attack any individual or a common person, right? So they target big organizations like hospitals, big hospital chains, or like big organizations which has like a huge network of computers and stuff like that. What they do is like they just enter into the network somehow, for identifying a vulnerability, and then trying to lock up or like trying to encrypt each and every information which is present in their network. So now they start negotiating, right? You pay this many $1 million, and then I just give you the key for decrypting the content. So these type of sophisticated attacks are like very predominant in developed countries, right? And we really have to be equipped. So far I have not seen any ransomware attack in our in the context of Indian organizations, or like even in the government sector or anywhere. But I think these type of sophisticated attacks, in order to counter these type of sophisticated attacks, we need a lot of personnel who is working on cybersecurity and related domains.
So there's a huge scope for this job.
There is, yes.
What are the kind of internships are there? Is this job actually, are internships even available here in this industry?
So for cybersecurity, right, there are two different types of lines. One is like service oriented, and the other one is like product oriented. So whatever we do is like product oriented cybersecurity. So our product domain is like fixed, and then we identify cybersecurity issues in that domain, and then we try to fix the issues and stuffs like that. But if you see like in service, when you go for a service, right? So a customer goes to the company and then asks them, you just enhance the security of my web application, or like you enhance this security of my web page, or you enhance the security of my IoT device. So these type of requests may go to the service oriented company, where they try to identify the service oriented people. They do penetration testing on these devices using various tools, and then they come up with a report, and then they submit the report. So this is type of a SIEM type of work. So this is actually a regular type of an activity, right? So when you go for a product oriented cybersecurity assessment, what happens is like you try to own it up. You try you own the product, and then you want to identify what is the threat model for that, and then how to identify different vulnerabilities for that threat model, and so on. So that's actually a totally different path, where you go for end-to-end security related aspects. Like it starts from vulnerability identification, finding out the mitigation for that, and then trying to do the risk assessment for that, and so on, right? It's a huge chain. So there are two different aspects. Like cybersecurity in service is like limited. The scope is like running some tools, well-known tools, cybersecurity tools on the application, and then taking a report and then just submitting it to the development team. So that type of activity does not require much of what do you say, like cybersecurity knowledge, but then they need a very good understanding of the tools. What tools should be used, and what tools can be used for what type of attacks, and so on. So that is one part. And when you come to this product line, the other thing which I wanted to specify is like the end-to-end, which I told, right? End-to-end security aspect is covered in product line cybersecurity.
So, are there courses or such things that actually give exposure
Yes.
to
So
these
basically, right, if a student has completed his BTech or BE in computer science or any domain, what they can do is like they can go for certifications, there is a certified ethical hacker. CEH certification is the base level certification which can be taken up for getting into a career in cybersecurity. And there are advanced cybersecurity certifications like CISSP, or like you can also say about offensive security certified professional, OSCP. So that is actually the highest degree of certificate which a person can get for penetration testing.
But this can be done only after graduation.
Oh, so I am not very aware of when you can do this, but I definitely think you need the base degree for getting the certifications. And then if there are a lot of colleges now which actually offer BE computer science with specialization in cybersecurity. So the people who intern with us in our company, they are mostly from this domain, right? Be in computer science, or like there is a MSc integrated computer science, which is having cybersecurity as the specialization. And there are different colleges. So PSG College of Technology, they actually offer an MSc integrated course. And Amrita Institutes, they offer courses in cybersecurity, BTech computer science, and MTech computer science is also there. So there are different institutions which actually provide this type of specialization in cybersecurity.
There's a common misconception that people who get into the area of research, like how you did a research, for them, it's not a lucrative career path. Is that true that you really have to do a job only to be able to earn?
Uh, I may be an exception here, but there are a lot of people who join academics after they want to teach, and they want to actually do a lot of research even after their PhD, right? So there are people who do postdoctoral fellowship. They go and then do additional research, and then they actually join reputed institutions where they actually serve as professors, assistant professors, and so on. So that is a different type of academic line, right? So, and the other line is like to join an R&D organization, like any of these corporate companies, which actually they are interested in doing a lot of research. So one thing I would like to say is, like, even when you are doing research, right? So currently the stipend for PhD is also like very high when you get admitted into IIT Madras or like any of the IITs, right? So the stipend is like very, very high when compared to our times, right? And I think even for research, there is this uh, Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, PMRF, which is like 70 or 75,000 per month. So it's a nice start for PhD students. So PhD is like at the age of 23, 24, you'll be joining PhD, and then I think 75,000 per month is like a good start for them for a research. And also they get contingency grant. I'm not exactly sure about the amount, but they also have contingency grant which they can use for purchasing their laptops, printouts, and all those things, right? So it's a very good support from the government. And also even after PhD, right? So I definitely feel that there are companies which are looking out for specialization in the areas, in niche areas like cryptography. I have also seen a lot of interest in machine learning and artificial intelligence these days. And even in cryptography, we are also trying to slowly loop into machine learning and artificial intelligence and bring in that type of intelligence for identifying vulnerabilities and then finding out mitigations and so on. So these are areas which are very interesting. Even image processing is like almost saturated. Like a lot of research has gone into image processing, medical image processing, even like geographical images, which they try to identify different issues in that. And now people are moving towards the next realm where they try to club artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all this stuff, and then do a lot of research on that, right? So a lot of companies, they open up a lot of research openings, and if you are really good in your research and area, then I think it's lucrative.
What is that one key advice that you would like to tell students?
So when people try to get an internship, right? So I know, like, even when, as a student, I used to say that I have done a lot of things, this, that, everything in my resume. But I would definitely tell that you just have to mention what you have done and what you are capable of, not to bluff anything, but because people, when they start talking to
The
you, they can
reality of
understand,
what you
yeah,
are.
what you are, right? And the main thing is, like, you need to identify what you really want to go into, right? So if you want to be a cybersecurity person, try to get a lot of understanding from different websites. There are a lot of websites, and there are a lot of self-study courses which you can take, Udemy, and a lot of educational platforms are there where you can actually get free courses, right? And then try to take a course and then understand what is there in the course, right? So then you can have a feel of what you are going to learn, and then you can actually apply for an internship, and then you can go and talk confidently, like, even if you are a BE computer science student, or like a BSc computer science student, if you have learned something additional, that is going to pay off, right? So when you are trying for an internship, you can say that, okay, this is the additional thing which I know, and it might be useful for you, right? That's how people start. Like, long back, there was no when I did my BTech, there was no advanced Java course or something. So when people of my class, they went out and they actually did this Java course, they had a lot of opening outside, right? And they were able to talk to their potential employees that, okay, I have done this advanced Java course, and then I know a lot of other things than my textbook. Yeah, textbook. And then you differentiate yourself from your peers, right? That's how you have to differentiate. So students have to differentiate themselves by acquiring additional knowledge than the textbook or the courses which are covered in their colleges.
If you had the chance to go back in time, what would be the one thing that you would like to tell your younger self as a student?
Uh, this is a tricky question. I enjoyed each and every moment of my life. As a student, I was mischievous. As a son, I was again mischievous. As a researcher, I did research. Right, I did a lot of research. I did a lot of reading during my research, and I didn't want to actually goof up with my research. PhD, at least. I don't know, like, how many of you understand that PhD is like a dabas, right? So Professor Kamakodi, who is the director of IIT Madras, he was one of our dissertation committee members, so DC members. So what he used to say is, like, PhD is like a tabas. So yeah, you are actually doing tabas, and then you don't have to, your mind should not be distracted, and you have to be focused on some of the problems which you are looking at. So I took it as an advice, and then I started changing my life. So it's like that. So every part in your life has a different aspect of you, or like a different what do you say, like, flavor of you, right? So if I want to change something, I would actually try to push this part, the dabas part, at my 12th or 11th standard, so that I could have
Had fun now. Okay.
had fun, yeah. So that is how I would like to see, yeah.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much for your time. It was such an amazing conversation. And I'm sure it's going to be useful to so many students. And I hope parents who want to help their kids, really, this would help them as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
So, guys, stay tuned for the next episode. We will be having amazing speakers every week coming in from different industries. And this is your chance to learn from the best of the best in the industry. So, stay tuned.